Kinds of technical issues today.
Yep.
We're just trying to figure this out, so I really appreciate you guys hanging with us and figuring it out. But we have a top 10 list to fix and finish, and we have a walk around of a truck to do. So
Indeed.
Shall we keep going?
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right, I think we were at the Toyota Land Cruiser for the top 10 adventure vehicles under 10K.
Yes.
You know, finding those things under 10K, that's a very highly sought after vehicle.
Yeah, you got to find the right one to get under 10K, but they do exist.
Yeah, they do exist.
Unlike unicorns. Yeah, they're rusty. They're probably a little beat up, very high mileage, but Jason, you were saying that, you know, they're comfortable, they're great off-road, and in some cases pretty inexpensive.
All right, let's go to number 4.
Yeah, number 4 is the 1994 and newer Subaru Outback. You can find these as cheap as $4,000. They're spacious, they're reliable, they're all over the place, especially here in Colorado.
And they're all covered in dog fur.
Yeah. From many dogs.
Yes.
Many dogs. Yeah. Of course, they have their downsides, maybe, you know, some oil issues and head gasket leaks. But, you know, fairly reliable. They'll go for a while.
Yeah.
And inexpensive, $4,000-ish.
Yeah. And guys, in case you're joining us on this video after we've gone live, what happened was our first part 1, we'll do a link to right here. The sound died on it. And then we had all kinds of technical issues, so we had to come back and do part 2. But the good news is now we're set up to actually do a walk around of Jason's 40-wheel Toyota built.
Oh yeah, big old 4Runner.
A lot of 4s.
Yeah, 44.
Yeah, a lot of 4s.
Runner.
Yeah, so we'll do that as soon as we finish this list, and then of course we're going to give away some RSG gear.
Yeah, Jason was very kind to bring along a bunch of swag to give away to you guys. So we're gonna pass it on. We're gonna do some giveaways.
Yeah, we should do both. Let's give away the T-shirt and the sweatshirt. So we'll do the picture of the day as a sweatshirt, and then we'll do the T-shirt as something else.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you want to watch part 1, click back. But let's keep going. Number 3. I think we're at the top 3 now.
Number 3, pretty obvious choice, frankly. 1995 to 2004 Toyota Tacoma. They can be found for
$10,000.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Somewhere in the world there exists one that costs $5,000, but I'm not sure if it's the one you want to buy.
I think if you go to Illinois, you can really find these under 10K.
Yeah,
but here in Colorado, I was looking around on Craigslist. These are highly sought after.
Yep. 10K-ish.
Yeah, and once again, 200,000 miles. Have you ever had one of these?
I haven't had a Tacoma. No.
Yeah. Have you?
I haven't had one, but my buddy has one. And the first thing he told me to do when I got in it was put it in 4 low and then put it in first gear and just drop the clutch and see what happened. And it just started rolling, pretty much. That was a unique
I was expecting some payoff for that story.
Yeah, no, it just kind of went.
Why did he want you to do that?
Right, just to prove the point that 4 low is a cool thing to use sometimes, I guess. I don't really know. He's just like, yeah, just drop the clutch, see what happens. And I hesitantly dropped the clutch in it.
You know why these are so expensive? They have a reputation of being indestructible because of Top Gear, right? They had a Hilux and they did all this crazy stuff. Like they dropped it off a building, they set it on fire.
Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry. For those of you who are joining us again, we've had a slew of technical issues today. Our mic battery died, and then we tried to use the phone, and that wasn't working out. So you didn't really miss anything. We just kind of picked up where we left off on the top 10 list. So part 1 will be in the description below, and then you can click over here to part 2 for those of you who are coming now. But moving on to number 2 on our list.
Yeah, of our top 10
of our top 10 list
under 10K.
of a very similar vehicle, 1995 to 2009 Toyota 4Runner, something that is sitting behind us, although this is a lot newer. Again, you might be able to find one as cheap as $5,000, but you're probably going to end up paying somewhere around 10.
You can find those. These are very abundant. I actually owned one of these.
Yep.
A locking rear diff, which was nice.
Yep.
You know, cloth that you could easily wash.
Yep.
These weren't great with these kind of steps. If you took it off road, that would.
Yeah, you could probably take those.
But they
off
were
now.
surprising. I mean, it was basically a truck.
Yeah.
Poor gas mileage, and then the other thing that happened is right back here, water gets under the bumper, and they all tend to rust out, and so they all tend to have like holes in the corners of the bumper because water gets in there and they rust. But as a bulletproof kind of
it's got that Toyota dependability.
SUV, yeah, it's good, and they were all this color for some reason.
Yeah,
my wife hated it.
They're exclusively silver.
Champagne.
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 You know why my wife hated it?
Why?
Because I told her it was really good in the snow.
Uh-huh.
And she didn't understand that you had to put it in for
drive.
Yeah, because it's got the traditional lever. So she was expecting to. She had an Audi before.
It's just automatic.
Right.
Doesn't have quattro.
We were in the mountains, and my son, who was at that time like 6 months old, was in the back seat, and she did a 360.
That's not a fun day.
Yeah, and that was it. We got a Volvo next.
Gotcha.
That was so long with the 4Runner.
That makes it. Was that when you got the V70?
Yes.
Ah, I see.
No. We got the cross country before that.
Ah, okay. All right, moving on to number 1. Our last car on the list, 1987 to 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ, the car in our thumbnail. Dude, it's a Jeep.
Do you see these in the shop?
Oh yeah, very capable car. Ton of aftermarket support. That's probably one of the most supported cars in the aftermarket world. 4 liter is a good motor.
Straight 4, yeah, it's one of bulletproof
The
motors.
early transmissions, weren't the crap, but the Asian transmissions were nice. Great all-around truck, solid axle. You can go anywhere in that thing.
You can probably put 40s under that thing, and people have.
Yeah, easy.
Oh yeah.
And you can expect to pay not a whole lot, anywhere from like $3,000 to $6,000.
That's going down that samurai road where.
Yep.
If you can find a clean, luckily they made a lot of them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them out there. But here in Colorado, they're hugely popular, and a lot of people just bought them as runarounds.
Yeah.
Kind of there with the Tacoma as far as pricing. They're sought after.
Yeah.
People want them.
People want them because they're those 4 liters were indestructible.
Yeah. Great motor.
Strong motor, and we had one. We had a Wrangler YJ, which had the straight 6. They put them in a lot of vehicles, and so you can get a lot of parts. There were some issues, like it had some, like the diffs would leak, which is pretty common.
Yep. They leaked oil on the showroom floor.
Yeah, exactly.
The rear main seal.
The rear main seal also,
yeah,
that leaked, yeah. But these are small issues. These are not
Nothing
big things.
terrible.
Yeah, nothing that's going to like sideline you.
Well, guys, I think that concludes our top 10 list for the day. Should we do the pick of the day?
Yeah, let's do pick of the day.
Pick of the day, we'll give away some stuff. Maybe what we can do, Roman, we can have people, rather than have the first person to get it right gets the prize, the first like 3 people to get it right will get it.
Yeah, the first.
Something like that.
So we need to know the first 3 people get it right will get this really cool hoodie.
Yep.
Actually, the first person will get the hoodie, and the next
Second
2
person,
people will get the T-shirt.
T-shirt and then a hat.
And then we'll give a hat away as well.
So to submit your guess, please send an email to info@tflcar.com. We will not take answers in the chat here. You're gonna have to email it to us. And then the first 3 people to get it correctly will get some cool stuff in the U.S. only.
Yeah, in the U.S. only, and send us your size, please.
Send us your size and your address.
Yeah.
And tell us what this is, guys.
The guy keeps winning it in the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And I went, like these hats we get them as swag from the manufacturers, so they're not very expensive. And then I went to the store. I went to the post office, right?
Yeah.
And to send a hat like this, how much do you think it costs someone like this to you?
$12.
$20.
It's like $20. Yeah.
That's a bit of change.
And all this you have to fill out all this what are you sending? I'm like, we've got half my days sending a stupid hat.
Sending the not drugs to the Czech Republic.
All right. Well, I think it's time to go do a walk around.
Yeah, let's walk around.
Let's
check out this 4Runner.
Check out this
Been
4Runner.
waiting all day for this thing.
Yeah. Well, let's go. We're gonna take the camera and we're gonna show you what there is to see. All right, follow me, guys. We're gonna need the mic. Can't do much. Ian, why don't you do a walk around first? Just do a walk around, and then we'll come back to us. Woohoo! Hey guys! Let's go. You go over there and you come over here.
Sure.
All right. So let's start with the front end on this bad boy. First, obviously, is the bumper. So you fabricated this yourself.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Tell me about the bumper. It's got a worn winch attachment.
Yeah, so basically it's got a winch plate there that was built, and it's basically just pretty simple, just some tube coming off the truck, and it's a pre-runner look to it, and it's pretty popular. Everybody wants that bumper for some reason.
Sometimes, simple is good.
Better,
Yeah. I've seen like a dozen different front bumpers for a Raptor, and they all make the thing look like it's got an overbite, right? Because basically what you're doing is you're removing the jaw of the vehicle. Kind of looks like this. And this actually looks really good. And I was noticing, if you go underneath there, you'll show them, I was noticing that actually the approach angle is incredible, but that your pumpkin is actually the first thing that's going to hit.
Yep. My plan there is I'm going to stick a camera under there so I can see the underside of the car. It's got cameras everywhere else, so I figure, we'll get one under there and see what's going on.
Well, so tell me about like what it took to build this out, right? So you basically replaced everything that is in the front. You replaced the front suspension, you replaced the rear suspension, so replaced the steering, you replaced the differentials. Tell me what's all under here, what's going on?
So to do this job, basically you have to cut off all the old stuff, all the independent front suspension, and you got to either fabricate all your parts to make it bolt on with the control arms and everything, or buy somebody's kit. In this case, we used the kit in the front of it, and in the rear we custom fabricated everything.
Yeah, so what did you do? Tell me about the suspension in the back. How'd you do that?
The rear is a reverse triangulated 4-link. The upper control arms go backwards.
Yeah.
It works really well, actually. We've had really good luck with it. The reason we didn't build it normal is the gas tank's there, the exhaust is there. There's a lot of things that we didn't want to move. So that was kind of our only option, and it worked out.
It sounds like a lot of work. Now tell me about those rock rails on the side.
So the rock sliders are built in-house in our fabrication shop in Inglewood.
Yep.
We build them for 5th gen 4Runners and 3rd gen Tacomas currently. We will have a lot of other versions of Tacoma and 4Runner coming soon, but those are handmade in our facility.
They look badass. They look really good.
They're nice.
Yeah.
That set didn't get powder coated in time. I just met you guys, and we kind of threw it together over the weekend, but I just painted them black, and normally they're powder coated. They look really nice. You can check out our website and see them.
Now, have you taken this off-road, and what's the hardest thing you've done with it?
I definitely have taken it off-road. Last year was its first maiden voyage last summer, so done a lot of harder trails in Colorado. Holy Cross, did Chinaman's, which isn't super hard, but it's been on a few trails, and it does pretty well.
Have you ever had to winch anybody out, or yourself?
We did a trail with one of the Facebook groups, and there was a guy there in a RAV4, and I got to pull him up the hill a little bit, or pull him out of a hole.
How big of a winch is it?
That's a 9,500.
10,000 pounds,
Yeah,
basically.
worn.
Yeah. Let's open the hood. Let's show what's under the hood.
Sure.
Yeah, stop that. If there's any shout outs, Michael, let me know.
Yeah.
So it's got a Magnuson supercharger on it. Definitely a must-have if you're turning this kind of rotational mass. I got an ARB twin pump in there for the airing up the tires and working the air lockers. You can see some of the power steering components. We had to relocate the engine oil filter. They hang off the front of these motors, so it's something that we would have damaged if we would have left it where it was.
And I got a lot of stuff going under here too. What's all that?
That's going to be power steering cooler and a pump for the supercharger and a reservoir for the power steering.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on. You said that before, what was hanging on the bottom of this? Where'd you have to relocate? It was
The oil filter housing,
Oil
which is
filter.
over there with the rubber hoses.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah.
That was hanging off the front of it, which is not a good place for it to be when you're off-roading.
Yeah, Toyota has a factory skid plate on these cars that covers it up pretty well, but obviously we didn't keep that around. So.
Yeah, no. And then to lift the engine up 2 inches, how did you do that? Did you put spacers? And then what happened when you lifted the engine up?
We actually cut the motor mounts off
Yeah.
this car and raised it up and rebuilt them. So we moved it up just to give us more up travel for the front differential.
And then, of course, the one thing I would have loved to seen is actually make the supercharger functional with that fake, right? It's got the
hood scoop.
The hood scoop. It's got the hood scoop, which is of course just cosmetic. But now that you've got a supercharger, it would have been cool to like actually have it. But that's probably a lot of fabrication.
Yeah, you know, it wouldn't take much. Just cut the hole out and build some tubing to the factory airbox.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be too hard.
All right, well, let's look at the inside. Let's go this way. Come on over. All right, so there's an iPad there. Why don't you show them the iPad, Ian? So what does the iPad do? Why'd you embed the iPad? Not the one that's hanging off the windshield, but the one that's actually embedded in the dashboard.
So having an iPad in your dash changes your life.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you can now communicate on a much higher level and not have a phone in your hand and crash your car.
Right.
You know, you can kind of keep your eyes on the road type of deal, but you know, there's a lot of features to having a tablet in your dash. You can email, FaceTime, watch movies, text people. I mean, you can talk to it. You know, that's how I use it, is talking to it, and it works well.
And then over here, right there, where normally there's a vent, what did you put in there? Is that a...
That's an Edge monitor. It's not a tuner.
Okay.
It's a monitor that shows you all your PIDs on the car. So you got, you know, engine coolant, oil temperature, transmission temperatures.
So instead of having them coming up the kind of the A-pillar, right, that people have, right, those three little manual. So you've got that coming out the vent.
Yeah.
Is there still a vent there, or is the vent
Nah,
gone?
the vent was closed.
All right, interesting.
And then the other tablet in the windshield there is a Magellan tablet for off-road. Just shows all the trails and that sort of thing.
One of the cool things, of course, I'm seeing is that, you know, it's got all the off-road goodies. So it's got hill descent control. All that still works.
Yep.
How does that all work with a completely different setup?
So what we did on this, and that's kind of the magic question, is you know, how do you do that? We took the factory reluctor rings out of the hubs and put them in a different set of hubs.
Okay.
And then we kept the ABS pickups and all
Where
that.
they were, yeah.
Machined them in correctly, and everything worked. That was actually something we did before we cut a single part off this car. I wanted to make sure that everything was going to work like it's supposed to.
Yeah. Well, that's always the thing, right? When you start modifying vehicles like this, you end up by basically making all the factory stuff not work, which is what really kind of bums people out.
Right.
Yeah. You got a shout out, Mike.
Yeah, so can you guys talk about the axles again?
Yeah, let's go underneath. Let's actually, here, let's put the light down. I'm going to light it up. We'll go over here and we'll talk about, well, I can't light it up that way. I forgot we're connected. I'll do it this way.
So the front housing is a Spider Tracks housing, and the rear is a Curry, is what we used on it. So Curry actually has the provisions for all the ABS in it already, and the front we had to fabricate and engineer everything.
And did you do anything to the exhaust, or is that standard?
It's next on the list, honestly. Last week I was trying to get an appointment set up to get exhaust put on it.
Yeah.
Because currently with the supercharger, it's kind of like blowing 800 PSI through a coffee straw.
Really?
Yeah, it needs to be changed.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining us. Why don't you turn around and face the camera with me? And we still have to do a shout out to you, so if people are interested in having their Toyotas either done up to go off-roading, it doesn't have to be 40-inch wheels, right? I mean, you know, if you want 35s, right? I mean, you don't have to cut the fenders.
No.
Right?
We try not to cut stuff up as much as possible, you know.
Or if you want an iPad in your dash, you guys do that. Where do they go? What's your website?
RSG Off-Road. And if you're interested in any of our metal stuff, it's RSG Metalworks.
So there you have it, guys. And you guys just don't do Toyotas. Obviously, we have a Toyota here, but you also do a lot of the domestic manufacturers.
Ford, Chevy, Dodge, you name it, we'll do it.
So if you want, if you want to do some light off-roading, like our list today, or if you want to go and try to conquer Iron Cross. Iron Cross is, by the way, one of the harder Colorado off-road trails. It's kind of a classic. That's not attainable right now.
Yeah, it's probably a little snowy.
Yeah, it's a little snowy right now, but in the summer, certainly. So rsgoffroad.com.
Yep.
Well, Jason, thank you very much.
Thanks, Roman.
I really appreciate you coming down and bringing your rig and sharing it with us and Dude on My Ride. Michael, are there any other questions before we say goodbye?
Yeah, John
J.
Drott wants to know, what do you have to do to beef up the frame for twisting?
Yeah, what do you anything of the frame? I mean, that's a pretty sturdy frame, right? This is a body-on-frame vehicle to begin with.
Yeah, so in the front, we actually added some plates to the sides, and that gives it a lot more structure. You reminded me of something. There's a forum out there. It's t4r.org. There's a complete build to this truck, and I can give you the info, and you guys can link it or whatever.
Okay.
But there's a pretty detailed build to it. You see everything we did. Raise the motor, reinforce the frame, all the parts going together. I documented it pretty well.
And of course, these are bead locks, in case you're wondering, which in most states are illegal on road, but they're great for off road because you can air this bad boy down to what, 5 psi?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just what's it like? It's gonna be like a big.
You get a pretty good patch.
Yeah, you get a pretty good patch. It's almost like one of those vehicles you could take on ice, right?
Sure.
Like in Iceland.
Sure.
Any other questions, Mike?
Yeah. Kasun wants to know, what do you think about Eaton e-lockers front and back for 4Runners that don't come with e-lockers? Do you have any experience with those?
Casey wants to know about Eaton e-lockers versus ARB.
Sure. E-lockers are great. I prefer the air locker. ARB's been around a long time, but either one, they're a great locker.
Yeah, I mean, factories are more electric, but ARB's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So if Australian company.
Kind of hard to beat.
Yeah, it's become kind of the standard go-to for lockers. The downside, of course, you need air. You need a pump. Yeah. But you seem to have solved that with this vehicle, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
A lot of people have actually scuba tanks, right, that they carry.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical glitches that we had. We're working this out. We really appreciate that you guys are sticking with us. And, give us another month or two, and we'll have this perfect. As always, this is Roman and Jason from RSG saying check out TFLcar.com for more news, views, and, of course, you know what? Real-world reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao.